So I've decided to do a separate video for all the makeup products that I've bought in ISO because I feel like not everyone is interested in both. So first up, I have the Becca Skin Love Setting Spray. So I've been using MAC Fix Plus and Touch of Dewy Skin Mist for a very long time. I don't really switch it out too often, and I also have the Urban Decay All Nighter Spray. I use those 3 on rotation and I don't really ever incorporate anything new. I have tried the Cover Effects spray, which I don't mind at all, but generally speaking, I always turn back to MAC Fix Plus, Urban Decay, and the Touch of Dewy Skin Mist. This for me is an incredible hybrid between the MAC Fix Plus and the Dewy Skin Mist. It gives my skin a beautiful glow while setting down all those powders that I use, because my routine is quite heavy in powders so that it will last all day long. But sometimes you just need something that will melt it in and make it look like skin again. And this for me does exactly that. Only thing I'll say about this is that it is very heavy in fragrance. So if you are very sensitive or if you have reactive skin to fragrance, this will not work for you. But it's super hydrating. It's not something I would recommend for someone with oily skin. It is mixed in with a bit of oils. That's why I say it's like the Touch of Dewy Skin mix. That's why I say it's like the Touch of Dewy Skin Mist and the MAC Fix Plus mixed together. You've got the oils and you've got the nice setting finish combined. The spray on this as well, amazing, highly rated. So it's kind of like this. But if you can see, I don't know if you can even see, it's super fine. Love it, love it, love it. So next up, I've got Nude Stix bronzing contouring stick in the color Bondi Bay. It's like that, and it's got a little brush on the end. Now this is one of the products I've seen the most traveling around on makeup artists in the industry. I feel like everybody gets sent this and everybody uses it quite often in their photo shoots and their editorial campaigns. But the only thing I'll say about this is that I've only ever seen it used on Caucasian skin. I've never seen it used on anybody with a more of an Asian complexion with the yellow and golden base. I didn't really care. I just took the plunge and I bought it anyway because it looked beautiful on the girls. And I will say that it is very orange and it's very red. Something that I thought would be closer to MAC Give Me Sun, which it is in some sense. It has that same tone, but for some reason, this is just very, very orangey and it's very red. I didn't really like the color that much, although I did use it in a makeup tutorial I uploaded last time, and it looked just fine, but it's not something that I've been reaching out to. The only thing I've been doing with this instead, drawing it underneath the cheekbone. I knew that it wasn't going to be a contour color, but I thought it would just have a little bit of depth so that if I could, I would sweep it under the cheekbone, but it's not exactly the perfect color to sweep under the cheekbone. So instead, I've been using it and dabbing my brush into it and popping it around the higher points of the cheekbone and top of the cheekbone as a bronzing color. I will say though, I'm not afraid to try more colors because the formula on this is so silky soft. It's so incredibly smooth. It blends amazing. And compared to the Fenty Beauty Matchstix, this is superior and it's much more expensive, but the texture and the formula on this is silky soft. It's very smooth. It blends out beautifully. Shame that this color did not work for me. So next up, I'll review these 2 products together because I bought it from the exact same place, which is Woolworths. This is by McoBeauty. So it's almost like a branch off of Model Co, which I know used to be a very popular brand. I don't know if it still exists or whether this is just the only brand that they have. But this is the Xtend Lash, and McoBeauty, that's the name. But that's Xtend Lash, and this is the Magic Brow. Talk about the Xtend Lash first. So these are really cheap options that you can get from Woolies. I mean, these were about like $10. This was about $8 for the brow gel. I just wanted to try it out because I had seen a lot of people review it, and this is the mascara that will tube around your lashes. I've been using the Kevyn Aucoin mascara for years and years and years. I do not switch it out. I try things occasionally and every time I'm disappointed. I just hate mascara that smudges. For me, it's just a no-go, and I only like tubing mascaras, and I've recently moved away from Kevyn Aucoin because I've discovered that a lot of brands actually do tubing mascaras. But this one here is a tubing mascara. For those of you who don't know what tubing mascara means, it means it coats your lashes. Usually it's latex based. It coats the lashes and it sets so that it doesn't budge all day. And when you're ready to remove it, you just jump into the shower, or you just take a towel or your cleansing oil or balm or whatever, and it will just slide off of the lashes, and it won't even leave any residue under the eyes because it just comes off in the shape of your lashes pretty much. My lashes are so short and thin that it doesn't really matter what claims about volume or length or curl that it gives. I just don't really care about that stuff. If you can last long on my lashes, that's all I really give a shit about. And this does exactly that. It doesn't smudge, it doesn't budge. The formula of this is very wet compared to the Kevin O'Quine. I've used it for a very long time now, and even then it has not dried out. It's still very like wet. You see how it's dripping off of the brush? It's very wet, which some people don't like, I'm sure, but some people will love this because it just doesn't smudge, and I don't really care about anything else. For me, it does the job. Next up, the Magic Brow. I've used the Glossier Boy Brow for a very long time. It is incredible. It holds my brow hair really, really well. The Boy Brow also gives volume in your brows. So when I saw this, the packaging is pretty much identical. It looks exactly the same. The brush is almost identical as well. I think it's a little bit bigger than the Boy Brow brush, just by a fraction, or the shape is a little bit different. But when I saw this, I saw that it said it had fibers in there, which concerned me a little bit, because fibers in the past, when I've had it in mascaras or brow products, it just flakes everywhere. It just looks like you're a hot mess basically by 2 hours in. So when I saw that, I was like, shit, I shouldn't have purchased it, but do not regret purchasing this because it is incredibly fantastic for thickening your brow. I've got it in my brow at the moment, and I always brush it into the end. My fronts are very sparse, so I will take the wand and I'll brush it upwards. This is really, really great, again, for thickening the brow. The only thing I'll say is that it's not fantastic for the holding factor. So if your brows are just really thin and you just want to quickly jump to the supermarket and have something in your brows, this is fantastic for making it thicker because it really builds up the volume in the brow. Except the holding factor, you need to coat it in a couple of times, and the problem with coating something into your brow a couple of times is that you keep building up the product and your brow gets darker and darker and it keeps getting thicker. So that's the only issue I have with that. It does hold to some extent. Give it a shot. It might work really, really well for your brows, and I think I would repurchase this again. I don't think it's a groundbreaking product, but if you're looking for a cheap alternative, honestly, it did the job. Next up, I have the Ultraviolet Lip Balm. This is what I'm wearing today. Obviously, I've got lip liner on the edge and at the base, but the gloss that I'm getting from what you can see is from this, and I'll do another fresh coat because most of it's probably come off. That is the gloss and the shine that this gives me. I love this. I really, really do. In terms of hydration, it's just like any other lip balm, but it gives me a really beautiful coat and gloss, and it works so well as my everyday color. It has SPF 50 in it. A lot of the time we forget to put SPF on our lips, and there's a lot of collagen that keeps our lips nice and full. So when you don't protect it with SPF, over time it just degrades. Your lip line gets thinner, your lips get less full. So if you have really beautiful juicy lips naturally, you might want to protect it with this. And the color's fantastic. This is in the color Nude, which is like a dark rosy color. So my lips are naturally quite brown, so all the other colors didn't really appeal to me because it probably just makes my lips look ashy, whereas this, as you can see, it just works so well for my natural lip color. Obviously I've got, once again, a brown lip liner on the edge, but in the center it just doesn't wash me out. So love this, love the texture, love the shine, hydrating, smells great. NYX Shimmer Down Pigment. This color is really, really beautiful. It's not expensive at all. I've just been using the MAC Tan pigment for a very, very long time. Fantastic quality, can't go wrong. You'll never run out of it. However, thought I'd try some new colors. And this color here, which I'll show you, I'll do a bit of a swatch. If you can see, it's a really, really, really nice color. It's a beautiful bronzy color. It's not too reddy, pinky, coppery, but it's not too golden as well. So this is the NYX Shimmer Down in the color Almond. Terrible quality. Terrible quality. It swatches really nicely when you do it on the back of your hand and with the warmth of your finger. I don't know if I'm using it wrong, but when I pop it on the eye, it is super, super patchy. It just is, it doesn't sit well. It doesn't sit in the way that the MAC pigments do. They go on and they just stick to the eye. Whereas this one here, you've got to keep coating it on and on and on, and the pigments are quite large in size because it gives that beautiful shimmer, but because it's giving you that beautiful shimmer, it keeps coming off and you've got to keep patting it back in. I've tried using concealer, I've tried using water, fixing spray, I've tried pressing it in with my finger, and it just doesn't work. I've done a couple of looks with this and you'll see it on my Instagram. However, for the price of what it is, it'll work, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't purchase it again. I don't really like it. The color's fantastic, but other than that, the quality application is shit. So next up I have the Sweet Tea Morphe lip liner. This was highly recommended by my friend Jen. She wears this on her lips and she looks absolutely stunning every time. Her lips look so super juicy and full, and I think the lip liner that I was using for a very long time wasn't dark enough to give me that fullness and that contour. But this is so nice. It is a really nice dark brown color, and that's the color there. It's super creamy, it's so affordable, it's literally $4. If you hate it, you're not wasting that much money. The only thing I found with this was that it has a lot of difficulty getting a really sharp point. So every time I sharpen it, it gets really blunt really quickly. It's not a big deal, but I think it's just because of how creamy it is. I don't know, but would recommend. Next up, the Morphe eyebrow pencils. So I've got the color Biscotti, Latte, and Mocha. Mocha did not work for me. I'm saving it for someone with potentially red hair or dyed hair, so I'm just going to keep it in my kit. These brow pencils were not expensive at all. I'm so used to paying about $30 or so for a brow pencil that lasts me not very long, but these are so cheap. I find these pencils to be really waxy and quite pigmented. So if you don't really like a really heavy, thick brow, I don't think you'll like this. Or if you don't really like a very defined brow, you won't like these pencils. I found that it was really easy to quickly turn my brow into a brow pomade kind of a look that was trending many years ago. So it's really easy to go overboard with this because it's quite pigmented and it's quite strong in that sense. It doesn't feel very pigmented when you're swatching it on the back of your hand, but it very quickly builds up color. So very quickly your brow can go from brown to black. This color Latte matches the closest to warm brunette. If any of you guys use an hourglass pencil, so if you can see my hair is pretty much close to black. My brow is like a taupey brown color. It softens my face because I like my brows to be quite thick. So when I have a really dark thick brow, it's too much for my face to handle. So that's just the way I like it. Biscotti I would use in the front. Latte I use on the ends. Biscotti is a really great color for the front of the brows because it's not very dark at all, but it gives you a bit of shape. I like using two colors together and I liked the combo of these two together. Would I recommend them? 100%. If you're looking for a natural brow, I don't know if this will be it, or if you have a very heavy hand, you might find you'll struggle with this a bit, because I remember the first few times I used this, I constantly had to go back with a cotton tip and take some out because the color builds up very quickly. But for $6, I would try this 1000%. So this is another brow product that I've been trying, and this is what I have in my brows today. So this is the color light brown. It is very similar to the Morphe in the sense it's a micro brow pencil. So the pencil is quite thin, except the brush is a little bit different. If you can see, it's like a little, I don't even know what you call this. I love the texture. I love the color that I have. I go over my brows quite a few times. As you can see, it gets very defined on the end. So I need a light brown like this to get the results that you can see. Would I repurchase this? 100%. The only thing I'll say about this that I'm not crazy about is that I love this brush to really blend the color out when it gets really thick, and I love brushing upwards in the front. However, on the ends, when you're trying to get a really defined, sleek end, it just doesn't work very well. So I always take another eyebrow pencil like the Morphe one that has a really nice thin spoolie, and I'll just brush out the ends instead, because this is so thick on the face of it that it just spreads the color really weirdly. I like really defined brows, so this sort of spoolie or brush doesn't work so well on the ends for me. Now, lucky last, I've got the Fenty Beauty Matchstick in the color Mocha. So highly recommended by a lot of makeup artists on Instagram. So I had heard from a lot of people for a very long time that the matchsticks are very hard to blend out. However, I've been seeing it heaps on Instagram. A lot of makeup artists keep it in their kit. So I thought I'd just finally give it a shot. It's like that. The color is like this. So compared to the Bondi Bay, it's a lot cooler. Even though it's very cool, it still gives off a very warm finish, which I don't mind. However, sometimes you want a very chiseled finish and you need to have a very cool base product, which I don't do a lot of anymore, except I want to have it in my kit for a nose contour or just to sharpen the jawline. This colour Mocha still gives a very, very warm finish. So what I'll do is I'll put it underneath the cheekbone. However, I'll blend it upwards just to give it a bronzy finish as opposed to trying to make it a very defined contour, because I think this colour just doesn't work for that. I'm still keen to try it more because I really want to find the right colour, and I've got a list of other colours that I really want to try out. I will also say that it's not easy to blend. I would never blend this on top of foundation because I feel like it would just move my foundation completely. I would use this to do contouring underneath the foundation, or I would use it as a bronzer. So I would tap my brush in and tap it on top of the foundation instead of like buffing it in, because I feel like it's so hard to blend out that if you were to really buff it in, you would just move everything that you just laid down, like the foundation. But yeah, don't hate it, don't love it. Still want to try more before I really write it off. But this color I'll keep in my kit in case, because I think some people really, really like this color and it might work for them. But for myself, it was okay. It wasn't like amazing. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the reviews of all the makeup products that I purchased in ISO. I've tried so many things. I really need to have a no-buy ban at this point because I keep shopping. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Maybe in a couple more months I'll have a whole collection of products that I will review again.